Hello everyone, welcome to Wild Woodland Lavender Farm. This is Carrie. I wanted to do a little garden update for you before the frost hits and just kind of show you how my garden ended up throughout the summer and just show you what all has been done around here. So let's get going. First, I think we'll do my no-till garden and the chickens, and then depending on how long it is, I may split it into two videos and then do a second video on the till garden and the greenhouse items. And I might like to throw in some of my food forest, what's been going on there, how it's been growing, and some things that plans for the food forest, but that might be a third video. We'll see. So anyway, let's get started in the no-till garden and with the chickens. First, over here, you might not recognize this. This was the fig tree that last year I tried putting a cover bag over to try to save it, and this is how it ended up, with some dead sticks. I never pruned those out. I was trying to save it from the winter because the previous owner told me that when the fig tree doesn't die back all the way over the winter, then it will produce fruit the following year. But if it does die back, then it won't produce fruit. So obviously it did not survive the winter, even though I tried covering it really good. And it grew back though, like it's almost like 3 times the size it was last year. It's got so many more branches coming up, and it's taller than me even. Not that that's hard to do, I know, but I mean, this is how tall it got last year. So you can see it got at least a foot, maybe almost 16 inches taller than last year, but no fruit. So that's sad. But I'll try again this year. You can see it's even still producing new leaves. And here it's October. I don't know what our winter is supposed to be like yet, if we're supposed to have a harsh winter or not. See just some little buds coming up right there. That's typically where fruit would grow, but I doubt that that's fruit. Would be nice, but we don't have enough time left of the growing season for that to actually develop to fruit. Anyway, so that's the fig tree that I tried to save last year. It grew back so much bigger this year. I'll try again this year to save it, put a lot of mulch around it. Maybe it'll be better next year. My sunflower plants are obviously done for. I'm just going to leave these. These were ones that were volunteer. I'm just going to leave these to feed the birds and other critters during the fall and winter. I have some chives back here. These are just things that the previous owner planted, and they just continue growing year after year. This is some lemon balm, and we have some onion growing up in here. And actually where I'm standing, if in previous videos you saw, this was just overgrown. There was some branches from the black locust tree that we cut down. They were just piled up here. Well, my dad came through and cleaned that all out and moved them to a log pile for us. So now I'm working on getting this Bermuda grass out of here. And that kind of overgrew over the logs, and this grass is nasty. And again, I'm putting it out there. If you ever have the chance to put Bermuda grass in, don't. So anyway, there's lots of onions coming up throughout here. And this is part of the purpose of a no-till garden, permaculture garden. You just let things go to seed and then come up wherever they might. And this is kind of fun. We have lemon balm here, and peppermint plant there, and sage right there. And you just have onions coming up in between all of it. So there's my sage. This is my grapevine that is covering my rhubarb plants. Well, this one's fine. That rhubarb plant is being covered, taken over by grapes, but hopefully we'll be able to get to work on this again. My husband had been gone away on a 4-week traveling trip to take pictures for his job. He's got a sabbatical he was on, and that's a big project that he was working on for that. So now that he's back, we might be able to finish this, and so next year we can get the grapevine trained up and over that. And then my goal was to have a seating here, and we actually got something that will work for that. So here's more chives, but there's also a lavender plant growing in here, and it's having a second blooming. So that's nice. I can come in here and harvest those blooms. And I already picked, cut off earlier this year, so this will give me just a second crop. And I use the buds, I use them in my soap making, making sachets, and that kind of stuff. So I'm glad to have just a second crop here to be able to harvest. That's really great. It's also giving the bees some food for the fall. All right, well, let's go through this way. Right here, the horseradish, I can't ever say that. Horseradish. You know, I was supposed to have dug that up when we were working on the, putting these in, and look, I must have missed some roots because we have more horseradish coming up. Over here, we still have strawberries covering the ground, but look at Bermuda grass. It's taken over. Anyway, over here, I planted some sweet potatoes in this trough. And you can see it's grown some beautiful vines, and it's still growing. And it's got this awful sticky grass in here. It sticks to your clothes. Anyway, some of these were a purple molokai or something like that, and then there was I think an orange or some other kind planted on this side. One or the other anyway. I have no idea if there's any sweet potatoes growing in there. Okay, my battery pack died, but look, I am seeing a tuberous root here. Ooh, that gives me hope that I might actually have at least some small ones in there. That's exciting. That'll be another video though. You can join me as we go on a sweet potato hunt. So this half of the garden I never really got to clearing out and weeding. This is actually a cabbage plant from last year, and I'm hoping it'll go to seed soon. We'll see. There's a lot of like leeks and onions that have gone to seed in there, a lot of chard and those types of plants. Again, I just didn't get in here to clean it out. It just got overwhelming to me, so never got done. You can see down in here though that there's still some chard growing in here. Here's some tomatillo plants that came up from seed, and right here actually is my honeyberry, and I have a second honeyberry plant over there somewhere in the bushes. And I am getting more of these because I love honeyberries. I've never had them until this year, and so good. I'm going to plant more. That's all there is to it. All right, so coming down in here, this area is a lot of arugula that's not going to seed yet. I just keep pulling up a bunch of arugula to feed the chickens. I tried giving it to the bunnies and they ate some, but don't think it's their favorite. But I had planted some tomatoes in here. You can see here that they are growing nicely, even if they are surrounded by arugula. And there's another one there. And then over there, can you see something red? I had planted pepper plants in here, and actually I ended up pulling one by mistake when I pulled out some arugula over there. And then I pulled this one out by mistake the other day, and I tried to replant it, but I don't know if it's gonna grow. But this one here actually has a red pepper on it, which I'm going to pick. And this is one for my husband because I'm sure it's a hot one. Of course, I don't like peppers to begin with, so most peppers are for my husband. So anyway, lots of arugula in here. There should be some purple sprouting broccoli growing in this row right here, but I do not see any at all. So once I get to pulling the arugula out, we'll see if it's in there. But tomatoes here, you can see down in there, there's quite a few growing on there. And they really need to turn red soon because I need my tomatoes before fall hits. Here I had planted some cucumbers, and I've actually been able to harvest enough. I've done probably 6 jars of pickles so far, and I hope to get several more done. I have enough pickles picked actually for at least 1 more jar, and actually I'm going to pick these right now, and this will be enough probably to make it 2 jars of pickles. So I've been trying to wait until they're a little bit bigger so that I get more bang for my buck when I have pickles to can. So I'm not just filling a jar with a bunch of small pickles that, you know, aren't fun to slice later. You want bigger slicing pickles. See, like this one I would have normally picked, but I think I'm gonna let that grow a little bit longer. Sorry, it's kind of shadowy there. Gonna let that grow just a little bit more so that it takes up more room in the jar, and then we'll make some nice slicing pickles later. All right, take my treasures. So I have some pickling cucumber plants there, and then some right here as well that have all started growing up in this way here. So that's right over there. So I got them planted late, and I'm kind of glad I did, because last year I was picking so many cucumbers off of the plants the previous owner planted that I just got overwhelmed, and I was finally just like, I'm done. And so I just let the rest kind of go to waste. Planting them a little later in the season still gets me my cucumbers, but I don't feel overwhelmed. So there's a nice little handful there. Anyway, I just use this chard to feed the bunnies. I'll just come out and grab a handful. Here's more tomatoes here, and I've already picked some. These I think were Rutgers, and these make really good canning and slicing pickles. Cucumber, oh my goodness, tomatoes, canning and slicing tomatoes. You can see there's some already turning, and I've picked several already. And a lot of times what I've been doing is, since it's getting kind of late for them, is I'll pick them when they're kind of orangish, maybe a little more, because they will finish ripening on the counter. And then what it does is it'll help the tomato plants give more energy to ones that need more ripening like that. So I'll probably come pick those later today or tomorrow. This right here is some comfrey that I planted. Just wanted to get it in the ground, and so I planted one here, and then I have one right here, just kind of marking the ends of the rows, and then one right here as well. And I have several more comfrey plants to plant. I just haven't done it yet. So anyway, just kind of show you the other half of the garden here that I never got to. Lots more volunteer sunflower plants. Again, I'll just leave these as food for the birds and other little critters. These are like spinach or chard that has gone to seed. And so when these fall off, they will, many of them will grow. And I probably would have had more growing this year if I had actually cleared this section out. But we have a lot of lemon balm growing in here that's gone to seed. And again, the leeks, the onions, chard. So next year I hope to get to this section. This year it just got a year off. Alright, so that's about it for the no-till garden. And I'm gonna go feed the chickens now, so let's walk on over there. We have a meeting of the cats here. Cats and the dogs. There's Smokey. There's Smokey. Smokey and Inky and Sidon all gathered together. Alright. You can see down our creek here. We cleared off part of it here. And wish we'd gotten to the rest of it. I was going to let it be overgrown, but yeah, I don't I don't like it because it you can't hardly see the creek when it gets overgrown. So next year we're just gonna have to get in there sooner and clear all that stuff out, because it's hard work to get that out of there. But over here, it's kind of fun along the creek side here. Let me show you. So here, this is I think it's some kind of morning glory, not your weedy morning glory, but a different type. I forget what it's called. I remember seeing it before in the seed catalogs, but there's been a lot of seedlings coming up from that around here, but it's not like the root systems of the weedy morning glory. But anyway, along in here you can see we have some chard that's come up from seed. This was something, maybe a radish, looks like that kind of plant. Some lemon balm. I think this is leek growing here. And oh, I missed it down here. Here's some, I think that's a giant red mustard. That's come up from seed that's just come over from the no-till garden over here. And I don't know, some arugula maybe, or radish. Oh, they're radishes. Look at that. Wow, that's a nice looking radish. Look at that. Cool. Let's see if there's any others. That one looks ready. Ooh, look at that one. Yeah. Nice. Nice big ones. There's one over here. Woo! Lots. Anyway, more chard. More chard. Quite a bit more chard over here. Use my shadow. I need to pick that for the rabbits. That's nice and long stalks for them. And then down here I see something that needs to be pulled straight away. This would be a black locust seedling. These have lovely little thorns on them, so you have to be careful pulling them out, and you need to get them out by the root, or else they will just come back up. And I hate these things with a passion. I don't care if black locusts are good for fixing nitrogen. They're for the birds. Anyway, here's some onions growing up along here, and this is really just what I'm aiming for. I just love to have plants growing wildly, growing naturally, but I want them to not just be weeds. I want them to be edible plants. Sorry, you're tipping over. And be useful plants, and just growing wildly instead of crazy grasses and thorny weeds and that kind of stuff. So I'm glad to see that that's happening along in here. I'll let all those plants go to seed, and then maybe in a couple years, instead of seeing weedy grasses in there, we'll see lots of edible foods growing instead. All right, here's the chickens. They're hungry, they need to be fed. I gave them some grain just a little bit ago, but all right, I'll show you the Orpingtons though. Can you believe how big they've gotten? Get you out of the they're in the shade right here. They're huge. They're about 6 months old now. So hopefully laying eggs soon. Now they've gone into the coop, and now they're gonna come back out. I think I am gonna keep them in this little area, separate from the other ones, mainly because I would like to keep the breed pure. So if there's gonna be any breeding going on between the roosters, I want it to be with the buff Orpington roosters and not with Magnum or Ricky or Higgins. So anyway, I opened this up. There had been a board back there to close it off, but if I'm going to keep them in here, they're getting close to laying season, so I wanted this opened up so that they could get up there to lay eggs. So anyway, there's my buff Orpingtons. So big and beautiful, and I have no idea still which ones are male and female, or how many I have of each. I can guess a lot of them which are female, but there's a couple that I think are male, but I can't tell by their combs or their, I mean, probably by their tail feathers, but their combs I certainly can't. So anyway. Side on. Side on. Hey, side on. Side on, come here. Naughty boy. At least he's not chasing them like he used to. Side on. Come on, boy. That's a good boy. I'm glad you're not chasing them. I gave a teaser in my Harvest Moon giveaway video about a new animal that we are getting on the farm here, and I've been talking with the gal, and it looks like maybe this next weekend is when we're gonna get them. Not entirely sure yet, but that's the plan at this point. But this right here is where we'll be keeping the new animals, and we have a little bit of stuff to do. We want to put a divider wall right here to just kind of give them a little extra security in here, because we do have coyotes. I hear them howling at night sometimes. Those would be about the only critter that might come disturb them. I've never heard them come closer to our property. Like, I've never had coyotes getting the chickens. I did have issues with skunks a few weeks ago, but we took care of that, I believe, and haven't had issues with them for several weeks now, so that's a good thing. So anyway, be looking for videos on the new critters that we're getting. Some people have made some guesses on the Harvest Moon video, and you're welcome to make some more guesses below. I am not telling what critter it is, but I will make a comment on your video just to say, you know, hey, that's a good guess. Just because I say that's a good guess doesn't mean that you're right. It could mean that you're right, but I am not going to clarify whether or not you are correct, just so you know. Yeah, so I'm gonna go feed the chickens now. This was just, it's right beside the lavender Orpingtons and the chicken coop over there, so this is gonna be their new critters home here. And you can see here, we need to fit a board or something right in here, just to give it, this fence didn't go quite all the way, and so we just need to fill that section in, and that's not going to be a big deal. We do have this fencing here. I think this is just left over from that portion of fence that we put in right there. So I don't know, we might be able to put that in right there. We probably will do that, actually. So anyway, we'll go feed the chickens in here. Hello, Black Box. How are you? Alright, got a little warm, so I had to take my jacket off. I tie it around my waist in fashionable 80s, right? There you go. I just like to throw them a bit of grain so that they aren't following me around like little raptors as I fill their dishes. Magnum, you show up at each new bowl. Why can't you just be satisfied where you were, huh? Yeah, that's Magnum right there, peoples. Magnum and Higgins is right there. Ricky's right here. Oh, I want to show you something inside the coop here. Some fresh water for them too. Made a little access point here, so we moved to make room over here. We actually moved a fence that was coming across more over this way, and actually it was over here, so that this faucet was accessible from this side of the fence. But now that we're going to have critters on this side of the fence, I wanted access to the hose from both sides. So we took out the gate that was here. It was a gate type thing. It might have even been that one right there, not sure. And we put in this smaller one, and it fits in this hole better rather than taking it out over that way. It just closes this hole right here, this gap right here nicely, and then we cut a hole in the chain link fence so that I can access the hose from both sides. So that's something else we've been doing around here. I know, ladies. I'll be feeding you next. Just don't fret. I just like to do this. They like it because, I don't know, it stirs up bugs or something in the ground, and so they like to go around and peck those up. Because they do have water. It's not that they're terribly thirsty. It's just, there's treats that come up when the water's floating. All right. Let's go inside. So some changes in here. This is where, of course, the mama hen had her chicks, hatched her chicks out the last time that we got 5 chicks from, and 2 of them got squished. Yeah. And but we had 3 of them, and she was in here for the longest time with them. And then just a few nights ago, like a week ago, she finally started having them roost in there with her. So she's taught them how to roost. Because I've been able to open this back up now, I moved this roost back in here. This is the original location. I'd had it leaned up against here for a while because I wanted mama and babies to have their room over here, because this is a door that closes. So anyway, I've opened that back up, moved that there, and now the coop is technically back to normal. Let's see if there's any eggs in here. We've only been getting actually 1 or 2 to 3 eggs a day, and I'll show you why here soon. You'd think with 26 hens, well actually 23 hens, because 3 are young and not laying yet, if they are all hens. 3 are roosters. I have 29 of those. So 23 laying hens, and I've only been getting 1 to 3 a day, but this is why. Oh, I need to count them now. Last I counted there were 20. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Now, there's no chicken laying on them now, but I do have a broody hen. And she is on there when I come to check on them in the evenings and even at other times during the day. I think the only reason she's not on them right now is that she's out feeding. Yeah, they're still warm. But the thing with eggs is when she's finally settling on them, that's when they really start to develop, and so then she'll sit on them and not move. But for now, I think she's just kind of waiting. I don't know how that all works, but anyway, so what did I say? 24. I'll go back and see, but yeah, so I haven't been collecting them on purpose, mainly because I wouldn't mind some more baby chicks around here, since the last batch only ended up with 3 instead of the 5. I wanted some more. We have some hens that are getting old. We've lost some hens this year, so I just wanted some more chicks. And so if these hatch out, then by next spring, let's see, if they hatch out, it's 31 days, that'll take us into November. Mama will keep the chicks warm. I know this for a fact because we had some hatch last winter. So yeah, if we get a good amount, then by, let's see, next June, we should have a new batch of egg layers. So anyway, that's the update on the chickens for you. So that's the updates on the chickens for you and on the no-till garden. We're gonna wrap it up there, and we'll do the greenhouse and the no-till or the till garden in another video, and the food forest plants in yet another video. So thanks for joining me today. Welcome to all my new subscribers. Glad to have you along here, and make sure you head on over to the to the Harvest Moon video to make a comment on there if you haven't already. I know several of you already have, and you'll be entered to win you'll be my semi-finalist and be entered to win the grand prize drawing over at Off Kilter Homestead's YouTube channel. So with that, we will see you next time. Bye.